we're seeing a lot more of the what we call luxury properties selling these days. That segment of our market is pretty hot right now. Talk to me a bit about doing an inspection for a high-end home, a luxury home, or maybe even like those smart homes that we're starting to see.
This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
So once you get in that $3 million and up category, a couple things may happen. Your agent may allocate a longer due diligence period.
Sure. And you got more house to cover.
Yeah,
usually.
more stuff to consider, more things to consider.
More systems. Yeah.
And it gets into different kinds of further evaluations, which we can talk about. So usually, really, it's true on any sort of home or home inspection. Whenever we get involved, we usually take kind of the point on the discovery process, and a lot of times. So we'll be first in, and we'll kind of go through everything top to bottom, and we'll say, oh, well, we need some help over here, and we need some help over there. Maybe we need an HVAC guy. Maybe we need a roof guy. Most common type of further evaluation is, you could probably guess, MOLD.
What's that? You lost me. What?
The M word.
Most common.
The M word. Oh,
yeah.
mold. Sorry. Yeah, mold. Yeah, we can say it on the radio. We don't like talking about it in the business way. We can say it on the radio.
Right.
Yes,
yeah,
mold is
yeah,
right. Of course, it's a scary word for us.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah. So when it comes to further evaluations that we may recommend, the M word ends up probably being the most common one.
Sure.
And a lot of times anything environmental too.
Right.
So you'd asked me earlier when I came in, oh, by the way, do we do radon? I don't, but I have a guy for it.
Yeah, and it's becoming a more prevalent inspection here in Vegas because there is an incidence of radon here in the valley. There is some, not as much as some other cities back east, but there is some.
No, and I'm familiar with it too from being back east the way you are. I'm familiar with what goes on with that, and we never really thought of too much of it here. And then because the conventional thinking was if you didn't have a basement, you probably didn't have a mold problem, or I'm sorry, mold problem, radon problem.
Right.
But that's actually not apparently completely true. So
yeah, if your slab is sound and solid and there's no cracks at all in it, maybe you're okay. But if there's any kind of even a hairline crack in it, that radon gas can get through there.
Yeah. So not common, but some people will choose just to have that done.
Yeah.
And then different kinds of environmental testing too. So if somebody's completely sensitive to certain things, they may want to do just a general air quality test.
Sure.
Just to see, what's floating around in the air in the home and in the HVAC system.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do a lot of times is, instead of going in first and then looking for further evaluations, we recommend. We'll a lot of times recommend bringing in other evaluators directly at the beginning.
Ah, okay.
So we set up, when we want to go in, but hey, let's have, depending on how complex, let's say the pool system is, maybe we have a pool guy right away.
Okay.
Depending on the age of the property, maybe we have a roof guy right away.
Right.
So kind of cut the time down on some of these other things. And the one area, so if it's a newer home especially, is home automation.
Yeah.
So
computers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's getting very complex.
Is that something you bring an expert in for that as well, Ben?
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah. So if it's a newer home that has a really current sort of system as far as the home automation
like a
goes,
Crestron or one of those,
Savant, something like that. Yeah, it has like one of those systems, and those are becoming wildly complex too. I mean,
sure.
They're basically AI systems.
Yeah,
at
you
this
can
point.
you can control everything from your phone in these homes. Yeah,
and the system's learning what you do.
Yeah.
And starting to do things for you.
It's the Jetsons. It's like the Jetsons. Carly's nodding, but she has no idea what I'm talking about. Oh, you did? Okay, good.
We were in one of these properties, McDonald Highlands.
Okay,
up
sure.
At the View. We were
Nice
in one of
community.
these, not too long ago. So this house is 2 years old. It doesn't have physical light switches on the wall.
Wow. So it was like motion sensors or
It just through Savant.
Oh my goodness.
Through Savant.
Holy cow.
So, I mean, some things did, but not every function.
You might have a switch in a closet somewhere.
Yeah, not every.
But all the major rooms, no switches.
It doesn't have physical light switches.
Wow.
So the buyer's standing there, and we're talking a little bit. He says, "Oh, by the way," he said, "What do I do if Savant goes down?"
Yeah.
I said, "Well, it doesn't. Hopefully."
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have a system similar to that, not quite as advanced as that. I have a Lutron system in my home, and it went out. And we had no lights in the house except for like in a couple of the bedrooms where we didn't have the system controlling it. And it took us 3 or 4 days to get someone out to fix that. And you're right, it's a challenge. You need when you have something like that in your home, you need to have an expert on speed dial because you'll be in the dark for a few days.
Yeah, yeah, which is why a lot of times we recommend maybe bringing that person in right at the beginning.
Yeah, good idea.
Because you're going to need them.
Yeah.
Because it's not like taking the keys to the house. The house may not even have keys, but it's not like taking the keys to the house, because all of these systems have to be switched over to your devices.
Yeah.
So you're going to need that person before or at the time whenever you take possession of the property to get all this switched over to your
Wow.
phones, your iPads, your keys, your security keys, and all that.
And I'm going to tell you, shop the services for that too, because when we had that issue happen with us, we had somebody come out and say, "Hey, we need to replace your whole system, Harp."
Man.
And I'm like, "Okay, let me get somebody else to come out." And they came out. Yeah, no, it cost me like $300. They fixed the whole thing, put a new thing in, it was fine. It's been fine ever since. So, shop. Don't be afraid to shop these things, because when you talk about specialization like that, they think they've got you, but you need to know that there are alternatives. Make sure you're shopping it and getting a quality person out there who can do the work for you.
Yeah, and some things may need to be updated too. There's homes
Yeah.
from the 1970s that have low voltage controls in them,
Oh, wow.
and some of those are really old systems. So depending on the age of it,
Yeah.
and then came along Lutron, which you were talking about, some
Right.
of these other ones. So there might be some updating to do depending on the age of things.
Sure.
But at least if it's a very, very new system, you're still going to have that transition period where you're disconnecting the current owner's access and
Yeah.
putting in your access too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah. So you're talking about, basically, when you talk about the higher end homes, you're talking about bringing others with you to
Right.
make sure it's done. And I know we
Yeah.
we did an inspection together about a year ago on a big home, and you had actually just another home inspector with you because it was
Yeah.
such a big property.
we'll do that too, yeah.
And because you could have been there for 10 hours if you hadn't had someone else helping you out.
We like to do that in larger homes too. We like to have multiple inspectors from our own
Yeah.
company involved.
Yeah.
Just so, like you say, so one inspector's not there for 8 or 10 hours at a time. So.
Sure. Yeah. And plus, two sets of eyes is better than one.
Always. That always helps.
I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
That always helps. So.
So basically, if you're talking about a luxury home, guys, and you're looking for a home inspection, you're thinking, gee, I don't want the guy who does the $300 $299 special. I want somebody who's going to do it right. I want to make sure I'm spending $3 million on this property. I want to make sure it's right. Now, when you do that inspection and you guys come back with your report, and maybe you have subsequent reports from a roofing guy, or maybe you have a subsequent report from a pool guy or a tech guy, all these reports are presented to the buyer, then they can make decisions as to what they want the seller to address like any other time and what they're willing to accept. Say, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm going to change that system anyway. No big deal. I'll take care of it. Or, maybe, you know what, never mind. I don't want this house because there's too many things I got to deal with. Yep. And so that's the same process as anyone else would go through. Maybe it's just a little more elaborate. Maybe it's a little more expensive.
Yeah, potentially, but yeah, you got that right, because a lot of home buyers, especially in that segment of the market, even if it's a newer home, they still have plans for renovations.
Yep.
There's a lot of times, hey, there's things they're going to do.
Always.
Let's do this even before we get in. So,
Yeah.
so then you take this information and layer it on top of what you want to do with the property anyway, and you can put out a real game plan
Yeah.
for how you're going to do that.
Just be in the know. Understand the nature of what you're buying. And that's why you want to hire these professionals to make sure they do a good inspection.